Have you ever unwrapped a bar of chocolate you were saving for the perfect moment, only to find it covered in a strange white or gray film? It looks dusty, chalky, almost like it's gone bad. Maybe you even hesitated, wondering if it was mold. And just like that, your sweet craving turns into suspicion. Did the chocolate expire? Was it stored wrong? Is it still safe to eat? That pale, ghostly coating feels like a betrayal, especially when you were expecting that rich, glossy brown shine. But here's the twist. That white layer isn't mold at all. It's not dangerous. In fact, it's pure chocolate science doing something surprisingly fascinating. What you're seeing is called chocolate bloom, and it's the result of chemistry, temperature, and the delicate structure hidden inside every bite. Let's explore, right here, on History of Simple Things. Chocolate might seem simple, just cocoa, sugar, maybe milk, but structurally it's surprisingly complex. Real chocolate, the kind made from cocoa beans, contains cocoa solids and cocoa butter. And cocoa butter isn't just any fat. It's a very picky, very temperamental fat that can crystallize in multiple different ways. Think of it like water freezing into ice, but instead of one solid structure, cocoa butter can form several different crystal types, some stable and some unstable. When chocolate is perfectly made and tempered, those fat crystals line up neatly in their most stable form, giving chocolate its smooth texture, glossy shine, and satisfying snap when you break it. That's the chocolate we all love. But disturb that structure even a little, and things start to change. Chocolate bloom happens when that delicate balance breaks. There are actually two different types of bloom, fat bloom and sugar bloom. Fat bloom is the most common culprit. Imagine the cocoa butter inside your chocolate slowly migrating to the surface. When chocolate gets warm and then cools again, even slightly, the fat melts, moves around, and then recrystallizes on top. As it hardens, it creates that pale, streaky, or dusty white coating. It's basically the cocoa butter rising to the surface like oil separating from soup. Nothing is spoiled. It's just the fat rearranging itself. The chocolate is still safe to eat, but the texture might feel softer or crumbly instead of silky smooth. Sugar bloom, on the other hand, happens because of moisture. When chocolate is exposed to humidity or condensation, like when you put it in the fridge and then take it out into warm air, tiny water droplets form on the surface. That water dissolves some of the sugar. Then, as it evaporates, the sugar recrystallizes into rough, uneven patches. This type of bloom feels gritty rather than greasy. It's less about fat and more about sugar chemistry. So if your chocolate looks rough and feels sandy, moisture is probably to blame. What's wild is how little it takes to cause bloom. A temperature change of just a few degrees can trigger it. Leaving chocolate in a warm car, near a sunny window, or moving it from fridge to room temperature repeatedly is enough. Even factories battle this problem constantly. Chocolate makers go through a process called tempering, which carefully heats and cools chocolate to force those cocoa butter crystals into their most stable form. It's like training soldiers to stand perfectly in formation. Skip tempering or mess it up, and the crystals become chaotic, and bloom appears much faster. That's why professionally made chocolate bars have that beautiful glossy finish, while homemade melted chocolate sometimes looks dull or streaky. But here's something reassuring. Bloomed chocolate isn't spoiled or unsafe. It just looks unappetizing. Mold on chocolate is extremely rare because chocolate has very low moisture. Mold needs water to grow. That white stuff isn't alive, it's just fat or sugar. You can still melt bloom chocolate and use it in baking, brownies, hot cocoa, or sauces, and it'll taste perfectly fine. In fact, melting and properly tempering it again can even restore its smooth appearance. So next time you see bloom, don't throw it away. You're basically witnessing a tiny edible science experiment. Interestingly, chocolate bloom has been studied a lot by food scientists. Some even use special microscopes to watch how cocoa butter crystals move and change shape over time. It's almost like geology, but edible, crystals forming, shifting, breaking apart. Researchers want to control bloom better because, while it's harmless, customers often mistake it for spoilage. And nobody wants their chocolate looking old, even when it's perfectly good. So companies experiment with different fat blends, stabilizers, and packaging to slow down that migration of cocoa butter and keep chocolate looking flawless for longer. If you want to prevent bloom at home, storage matters more than most people realize. Chocolate likes stable conditions. Around 18 to 20 degrees Celsius is ideal. Cool but not cold. Too warm and fats melt. Too cold and condensation forms later. Keep it dry, sealed, and away from sunlight. The refrigerator should be a last resort, and if you must refrigerate it, wrap it tightly and let it warm up slowly while still wrapped to prevent moisture from settling on the surface. Think of chocolate as a little bit delicate. Treat it gently and it stays beautiful. So the next time you unwrap a chocolate bar and see that pale coating, don't panic, don't toss it. Instead, remember what's really happening beneath the surface. Tiny crystals are shifting, fats are traveling, sugars are rearranging themselves. It's chemistry, physics, and food science all working quietly together. That ghostly white layer isn't a sign of decay, it's proof that chocolate is alive with structure and motion, even when it looks still. And honestly, there's something kind of magical about that. Because even in something as simple as a piece of candy, there's a whole world of science waiting to be discovered. Sometimes all you have to do is look a little closer at the surface. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.